Good morning, Year 1. Today for inquiry, we are going to be looking at some of the rhyming words that Jackie French has used in her book, Fire. I've pulled out 3 sentences from the text for us to have a look at today. I wonder if as I read them, maybe you can, what's an action we could do when we hear a rhyming word? Which of the 5 senses do you hear with? Do you hear with your nose, your eyes, your mouth, your touch, or do you hear with your ear? You hear with your ear. I hear 2 rhyming words right there. The word hear rhymes with ear. That's a little bit funny, isn't it? Maybe when you hear a rhyming word in the sentence I'm about to read out, you can do the action pointing to your ear because you're hearing a rhyming word. All right, the 3 sentences that I'm pulling out today are about our heroes, the firefighters. And I was so impressed with your writing last week, and I'm really looking forward to photocopying all your beautiful letters, collecting all the letters to the firefighters, and then we have a special friend in One Red who is going to take those letters and deliver them herself to the firefighters to say thank you for all that they did over summer. So these 3 sentences are all about our heroes, the firefighters. Let's listen to them one at a time. Remember, when you hear a rhyming word, do this. Helicopter overhead, one small speck among the red. Helicopter overhead, one small speck among the red. I wonder if you put your hand on your ear during the word red. The 2 words that rhyme in that sentence are overhead and red. I've been very impressed, girls and boys, with your spotting of compound words ever since we've been talking about those in remote learning. I know Alec has been spotting a few at school and he's been coming and showing me. Remember, a compound word is when a bigger word has 2 small words inside it. Can you see what 2 small words are inside this big wow word, overhead, which means to go over someone's head, high up above? Can you see the word over and head? It's a compound word. Those 2 words have been joined together to make a new word. Overhead and red are my 2 rhyming words from that sentence. I wonder if you could hear how they both rhymed. They both sounded very similar. Overhead, red. They both end in the sound ed. To be a rhyming word, the end of our words sound the same. Doesn't really matter about the front, o. They can be different as long as the end, ed, is the same. Next sentence. Fire trucks a barricade, arched hoses of the fire brigade. Let's read it again, see if you spotted that rhyming word. Fire trucks a barricade, arched hoses of the fire brigade. Did you spot that our 2 rhyming words in that sentence were barricade and brigade, as in the fire brigade? Both of those words end with aid. That's 2 phonemes. A-d. D-E is my digraph. 2 letters making 1 sound. Aid, aid. Barricade, brigade. They're rhyming words. Let's try our last sentence. Remember to do your action when you hear your rhyming words. Holding the red monster back, facing each high-blazed attack. Did you hear it? Let's have another try. Holding the red monster back, facing each high-blazed attack. Did you do the rhyming action in this place? Holding the red monster back, facing each high-blazed attack? Yes, because the words back and attack are my 2 rhyming words in that sentence. They're a rhyming pair. They both end with the sound ack, which is 2 phonemes, 2 sounds, ack. CK on my digraph is my digraph. 2 letters making the 1 sound k, and CK often stand together to make that k sound at the end of words. You wouldn't really see CK at the start of words, maybe in the middle of the word if it's got a suffix like ing on the end, or mostly at the end of words. Okay, year one. Today what I want you to do is I'm going to have one of those sentences with the rhyming words that we just looked at ready for you to trace over. So there'll be a worksheet below in Sector that you can print out. But if you don't have that worksheet, I'll write the sentence in Sector, and so you can just copy it in your very neatest handwriting into your holiday learning book. After you copy the sentence, you trace over the sentence as neatly as you can. Then I want you to copy the sentence. So without any help from me, no tracing, you're going to copy the sentence in your best handwriting. Then I would like you to come up with your own rhyming sentence about the bushfires. We're going to begin to have a little look at poetry in our inquiry unit about bushfires this term. And so this is kind of like a bit of a starting point, trying to start to write a sentence or two sentences that have rhyming words. So two words that rhyme, that end the same way. I'm challenging you to try and write one rhyming sentence about the bushfires. If you can write more, maybe if you can write a whole poem if you're up for a writing challenge today, you absolutely can write a whole poem filled with rhyming words about the bushfires. And I absolutely would love to see that on Seesaw. I know a couple of you will be wonderful little poets and we'll have so much fun writing a poem about the bushfire. But for the rest of you, at least one sentence, please, with rhyming words about the bushfire, and then you're going to draw a picture to illustrate that sentence. All right, I'm going to give you some examples, and then I'm going to let you head off. Mrs. Tupman's going to use her thinking brain to try and brainstorm some rhyming words. When I'm trying to write a poem, sometimes I do write poetry, when I'm trying to write a poem, I like to think of a sentence or a phrase first, and then I try to use the last word in that sentence and find a rhyming word for it to inspire my second phrase or sentence. So if I were to think about a sentence about the bushfires, I might say, the weather was hot. I'm writing it down. The weather was hot. The sky turned grey. What was the last word? Grey. So that's the word I need to find a rhyming word for. So now I go through in my head and I try to think of a rhyming word for grey. The way Mrs. Topman does that is I go through the alphabet actually. I start at the letter A and I go A. Then I put a B in front of that word. Bay. Then I put a C in front of that word. K. So far I don't really have any words. So I keep going through the alphabet until I can find a word. A, bay, K, day. D-A-Y, day. Let's see, can I think of a phrase to add on that will also end in day? The weather was hot. The sky was grey. So now I need to think of a phrase that ends in the word day. The weather was hot. The sky was grey. In Australia, it was just another summer's day. Is that a good rhyming sentence, you want? The weather was hot, the sky was grey. In Australia, it was just another summer's day. So I've got grey and I've got day. They're my two rhyming words. All right, let's have another go at writing another one. So I start with a phrase that I get in my head about the bushfires. So what about something about koalas? I'm feeling inspired, maybe about koalas. What if I could write koalas is a hard word to rhyme with, so I would try to put koalas at the beginning or the middle of my phrase, not at the end. I try to choose an easy word to rhyme with, maybe one syllable, so one beat at the end of my phrase. So maybe the koalas were high up in the trees. So trees is my last word that I'll need to rhyme with. The koalas were high up in the trees. Then I need to find a rhyming word for trees. So I'll go through the alphabet. A's, B's. Bees could be a possibility. Might write that down with a question mark. Keys. Keys could be a possibility. A, B, keys. E's. Fees. Fees. is a real word. It could be a possibility. Knees could be a possibility. I've got lots of options here that I can play around with for my second phrase. So the koalas were high up in the trees. Maybe I could say, you know when someone's scared and their knees start to rattle? Maybe I could say something about the koalas were high up in the trees. So scared that rattling were their knees. They're so scared because they're clinging to the trees, so scared that their knees are shaking. The koalas high up in the trees, so scared they were that rattling were their knees. All right, so that's how I kind of go about creating a rhyming sentence. You might find another way to do it, but that's some ideas for you. I'm looking forward to seeing your rhyming sentence or your poem. Remember, you can print out the resource on Sector or just write it in your holiday learning book, copying this one of the sentences that I would write below in Sector and then writing your own rhyming sentence. Have fun, year one, or should I say, my little poets.